So we're caught up in drama. Everybody's talking, everybody's talking. We're caught up in problem. Everybody's talking, everybody's talking.
Hey y'all, so my camera battery died, so I have to resort to my phone, and if I'm looking that way I'm actually looking into, never mind. Anyways, somebody in my comments had asked me about teaching in Japan. Now I'm going to give you my experience. I don't know about anybody else's. If somebody else would like to add their 2 cents, well, thank you very much, much appreciated. So while in Jamaica, I was working at the university I was attending, and I applied through Interact from a friend of mine who was already in Japan. She had told me about the company and about working in Japan. So I went ahead and applied, and it was 2 years after, when I have already started my postgrad studies, that I received a call. Actually, it was an email. I received an email that I'm considered a viable candidate for the position, and I should do an interview. I did a phone interview as well as a face-to-face interview, and in the face-to-face interview it was more like a conference really, because it was actually a demonstration that you had to do to show the schools what you're capable of and how genki happy you are and stuff like that. So yeah, fast forward to the whole process. By the way, the company takes care of working visa and all of that. Fast forward to coming to Japan. Now coming to Japan is exciting, I can imagine, for anybody. I was over the moon when I heard that I was considered. It was a possibility that I was coming here, and then it became reality that I was actually coming here. I was elated, I was over the moon. But then coming to Japan, I came at a very weird time, because Jamaica is in the tropics. We don't experience snow or cold or anything like that. When I first came to Japan, it was extremely cold. I could not manage, and on top of that I was sick because I had a toothache that I had to be rushed to the dentist the day after. Now, I was placed in a very beautiful place. I was placed in Hamamatsu. Shout out Hamamatsu. Anyways, I was placed in the countryside of Hamamatsu, and it was very good for the most part. It was so surreal. Every experience was just new, and I was just excited. And even though I was in the middle of nowhere, it didn't matter because I was in Japan. Now, the downside to that is you can get very lonely, and without the support of your friends and family around you, it's really bad. And all my friends lived at a very good distance away. I almost suffered a nervous breakdown. It almost a year into teaching, I just told myself, listen, I'm going home, because I used to suffer from anxiety attacks, and then I had to contact the company and ask them to move me from the area that I was in, because I was the only foreigner. No, that's not true. I wasn't the only foreigner. No, yes, I was the only foreigner in my community, but not the only foreigner in the district. But it was pretty lonely. The upside of teaching in the country areas is that you learn Japanese rather quickly. They don't know English, so there is absolutely no way of communicating in English except for teaching English to kids, and that's a little easier. But communicating outside of school and in general, you will have a warm time not learning the language. So it forces you to actually have some kind of understanding or be able to speak the basics. When I moved to a place close to the American base, and I blended right in. I didn't experience any stares. Nobody stared at me. Nobody, giggled when they saw me. I blended right in, and I was right at home, and it just took off from there. Now at the schools, some schools, I'm not going to lie, I don't think a lot of vloggers will tell you guys this, but some schools are horrible. The teachers are horrible, the kids are horrible. It's just really bad. And if you're placed in that situation, you would either have to have a very tough skin or the patience of Job. On the upside, some schools are actually wonderful. I was lucky enough to be placed in a very, 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 very good school. I loved every single one of those kids. I liked every one of those teachers. We just meshed. It just worked, until I was placed in another school where I just figured, you know what, this is not going to work out for me. I need to leave this place, because the students were fighting the teachers. They weren't fighting me. Them can't try that with me. But yeah, they were fighting the Japanese teachers, and it was just not a good environment for me. They wouldn't listen. They would laugh. They weren't just a bad experience. So I just decided, you know what, it's either they're going, my company at the time was going to relocate me, or I'm going to leave. Now, asking for relocation in the middle of the school year is next to impossible, and considerably so, because then they was understandable. So I sat out the year and I waited until it was time to renew my contract. Then I told them, you know what, I've had enough of this, guys. I'm heading out. Now I'm teaching at the elementary level, actually the kindergarten level, and I love it. It is so fulfilling. I mean, apart from acting like a complete goofball in the classroom, and you have to do that because you're teaching babies, but it's such a fulfilling experience. The kids are wonderful. The kids make it worth it, and yeah, that's basically it. Now, in terms of living in Japan, you, before coming to Japan, ensure that the company that you apply through is able to subsidize some of the costs that you would incur, because believe me, stuff like the national health insurance is ridiculously high. Then the rent, again, you would have to consider paying something called a key money on top of your deposit that you don't get back. That is basically saying thank you for renting me this apartment, and sometimes that can run you roughly $2,000 US, $3,000 US, depending on where you get. Now, if you go to the country areas, if you go to the more rural areas, it's a bit cheaper than living in the city areas. Right now, I live in Tokyo. Never mind the bush, I mean, I want garden, but yeah, it's quite expensive in Tokyo. So the nightlife, I used to enjoy the nightlife. I don't go out anymore, because on account of the fact that I was studying while I was working here, so my nightlife has gotten next to nothing. It's next to nothing. So yeah, if you guys have any questions, I really don't know what to tell you, but if you have any questions, it's okay for you to ask. I'll be happy to answer. If you want to shoot me a private email, my email is attached to my channel. So if you guys want to shoot me up in my DMs or something, slide up in that DM. I'll be happy to help in any way I can. I'll be happy to extend some word of advice. If anybody else would like to add to this, it would be great. And I hope I wasn't rambling too much. And subscribe to my channel and turn on your notifications. I promise, guys, I'm not used to this yet. I'm just getting used to this. Just give me some time. Just bear with me. Bear with me. I'm so hot. How would I fly there, that though? Anyways, thanks for watching. Goodbye.